Promotion is the part that I think Christina is very correct on, that folks really are very interested in promoting and marketing their district and making certain that you know where you are when you come to a particular district. I'm going to gloss over those two things. And so I am so sorry, guys, that you can't see this, but that's the H Street Festival, because my co-presenter is Anwar Salim today. And it's really, when you're thinking about promoting the district, it's helping change or enhance the district's image, strengthen the district's position as the center of community activity, really bringing people to the district to shop, gather, live, and invest. So you heard Teresa talk about those third spaces. Building a strong position for the district. What is your value? Why are people coming to this district? I've said that quite a few times. What is your niche? Why would people want to come and shop at this particular district? When you're thinking about promotion, there are some key ingredients that you need to know. Identify and recognize your assets. I said that earlier. Do an asset mapping. Before you start any Main Street programming, you need to know what are your assets in your community. What are the businesses that are doing very well? It's always good to start from a market that you already have, than trying to build something new, as well as understanding who are your anchors in the community. Understand your market. Who is the audience? Why are they coming to the district? What is your potential customer base? Defining your market position, really messaging. So again, what's your niche in the marketplace? And developing and implementing an appropriate strategy to reach your audience. Thank you. Access current promotions, determining the type of promotions that may be needed for your small businesses. This is an example of 18th and Vine Street in Kansas City, Missouri. We were just there for our conference, the National Main Street Conference. And if any of you were able to get out and tour some of the neighborhoods, I made it to the Blues District. And they have an open mic night every Tuesday where folks are just coming to jam. But that's what they're known for. So if you go to Kansas City on a Tuesday night, it's open mic, and there are going to be a variety of different musicians. They're not paid musicians, but these musicians are coming to this district to jam out. So really understanding, why do you promote this district? Recognizing your assets. So that's the first thing that I talked about. What's the historic character? What's the building stock? In Chicago, we're well known for our graystones. So we have a lot of graystones in historic bungalows in our communities. So West Side and South Side, they have these beautiful, huge graystones that are made of limestone. And some of the neighboring suburbs and communities, there are these bungalows. They're called historic bungalows. And of course, we have Frank Lloyd Wright. A lot of his places are in our communities. Heritage, people, sites, cultural values. Why are people coming to the district? What is important? The gathering places. Do you have a riverfront? Is there a plaza? Where are people going? What is recreation facilities? If you think about some of our other districts, I think about Michigan as being one of the places where people go for either summer recreational activities or winter recreational activities. What is your asset? Government and civic facilities, your city hall. If you have a historic city hall, or historic courts and post offices. We have a very old post office, in fact, in the Inglewood community in Chicago, that is in the book that I can never remember the name, that Leonardo DiCaprio will be playing, The Devil in a White City. So it's the Inglewood Post Office, where it used to be the home place where a lot of people were murdered. But that's the history of that particular district. People, products, and services. So really understanding, the business is personable when folks are coming to the district. Sometimes, Anwar mentioned customer service training, really making certain that the small business owners are being able to be personable with folks that are visiting the district, because a bad experience, I may not want to come back to that shop again. So really understanding what are the assets in the community. Market-based strategies. So when you're talking about that, really looking at some, image campaigns to accentuate the positives of a particular community. The the picture to the left is Rage Presents. This is also in Inglewood. Again, I'm talking about my hometown. Inglewood is a community that has seen its fair share of crime, joblessness, and as I said, has been definitely promoted as not a desirable place. So they have a residents association called RAGE, Residents Association of Greater Englewood. They present a So Fresh Saturdays. And what this is an opportunity to really highlight all of the good things that are happening in Englewood by utilizing music and food and gathering families together. Good in Englewood, I mentioned that a little bit earlier, and you see hashtag Good in Englewood. RAGE is really working closely with the social media group that does Good in Englewood. So again, it's starting to make certain that every time you talk about Englewood, it's called Good in Englewood. When you see them on Twitter, it's hashtag Good in Englewood. When you Google Englewood, what pops up now is RAGE. The great stories, their Englewood portal that I showed you earlier. Those are the things that start popping up now because they've been able to really change the image. Explore Bronzeville. So this is a Groupon. I work closely with Groupon in Chicago, and you guys know Groupon. They're a national organization, and they're often looking to partner with Main Streets, just so you'll know. But I had a relationship with them in the past at another organization, and what they would do is actually take a community and say, you know, this is how you explore Bronzeville or explore Edgewater. It's an opportunity where you're getting a corporate sponsor to come in, do the social media campaigning for you, also help with website development, but it's an opportunity to showcase off the small businesses as well as the neighborhood itself and where it had not been showcased. Sometimes Groupon will do deals with particular groups and communities in that district, and they'll get businesses to be Groupon ready. The problem that we saw often when some folks will participate in a Groupon promotion to get individuals out, the small businesses are not ready for the flood of people that they'll get. And they also don't realize that they don't get all of the payments up front. Groupon pays them in thirds. So some business owners just did not have the inventory, and they were not prepared, and they did not realize that they wouldn't get the payment up front. So it's a partnership with Groupon to really understand how can you become more Groupon ready, but also as Groupon is promoting your community to get more people to come to your community. I'm sorry. Special events, really generating traffic, activity, and positive experiences in the district. I showed you H Street Festival. There are a number of festivals that are always going on. Anytime someone is coming into your community, you want to make certain that they have a positive experience in the district. When you're thinking about strategic marketing, really think about who are the employees in your district. If there is a large group of workers in a district, they're going to need a place to go outside to eat. And it is often great if a large workspace does not have a cafeteria, because you want to make certain that those individuals are going to the local businesses and are patronizing those businesses. And the University of Chicago, I'm sorry, a lot of my examples will be from Chicago. They offer a credit card to all of their employees and really encourage them to shop local at all of the 8 surrounding neighborhoods that the university caters to. Your residents, you need to make certain that you are catering to your residents, not only tourists and workers, but what are the amenities that your residents will require: a dry cleaner, a grocery store, pharmacies, etc. Really understanding the demographics of the folks that are in your community, tourists and visitors, senior citizens, women or men, all of the things that Alex touched on very earlier. How do you make certain that when you're doing your promotion and strategic marketing that you're meeting the needs of those individuals? Are there business specials for the workers that are in a community? So if you work at a particular organization, maybe you get 10% off. If you went to the portal or went to a business marketing website and you pulled something down, this could be an opportunity where individuals can get a discount at some of the small businesses. So really just being thoughtful about that. In Waukegan, Illinois, we have the great pleasure of being, that community has the great pleasure of being right next door to Great Lakes. My son is in the Navy. When he graduated from the Navy, Naval Academy, I was like, well, where will we go eat? We should just go to Waukegan, right? Well, Waukegan, unfortunately, has not capitalized on the military presence that's in that community and the number of individual families that are coming into town to see these graduations. The graduations happen generally once a week. And so there's like thousands of people that are coming into this district and only one place where people can go, and it's Libertyville. So it's like, and when you go out to eat, you're waiting an hour. So how do you capitalize on what you have? And that has been a strategy that I've been trying to work with the city of Waukegan to really build out. Product strengths, really thinking about what are the strengths. This is Bronzeville. Bronzeville is very well known for their artists. They have a number of galleries in the district, so they promote art. They have Bronzeville Summer Nights, and this is a trolley series where they take a group of individuals around to the different art galleries in the community. Folks sometimes purchase some art, sometimes they do not, but generally they come back, and they do this every summer. It's usually a 6-week series. You know, really understanding what are the strengths of your district. Is your district known for convenience? Is your district known for agriculture? Understanding that and really building on that. Furnishings, green products, etc. I can go on and on. Here you are again, more product strengths. This is a community in Chicago on the northwest side, Flavors of Albany Park. There are over 100 different languages that are spoken in this particular community. So they have many different flavors that individuals are coming. They have a taste of Albany Park where individuals come out. You can buy some tickets and you're going to different restaurants. So it's essentially a restaurant crawl. It usually brings more individuals back. They may get a little taste of a particular restaurant and then they come back later and shop again. Health and wellness, really understanding, like, you know, is this a particular community that folks are, if you have a large population of millennials, seniors, et cetera, they want to be healthy, they want to get out. So if it's yoga studios that are popping up, Cycle is popping up everywhere, really being thoughtful about what are the strengths of your district. District image, so when you're really thinking about that, online tools, everything that you guys have heard today, print materials, advertising, media activities, public presentations, so really making certain that you're getting out there. So there are a couple of examples of social media. We have Shaw Main Street Facebook page. This is an example of a district where they're really just, this is a handout, and the district has shown like what can you find on a Grand Street, Main Street, and then this is H Street's Instagram page. So really just being thoughtful about the different tools to really promote the district's image. Shop local campaigns, there are a few. Local First Chicago, really thinking about those locally independent businesses. Shop Small and Shop South. This is a program that was developed by the city of Chicago where it is Shop South and really trying to encourage more individuals to go to the south side of Chicago. A lot of folks will not go south of 94 because it has been deemed as not the most safe area. People will skip over Bronzeville, Inglewood, Woodlawn, and go straight to Hyde Park. But there are many beautiful restaurants and coffee shops that you can go to, so it is an opportunity to get more individuals to come back to the south side. Milwaukee's Coffee Passport is really an opportunity to check out a lot of the local coffee shops throughout the city of Milwaukee. So there are a lot of opportunities that you can use to really increase shop local campaigns in your community. Image building events, again. I was just at the Silver Room Block Party last week. This block party is probably very similar to what Anwar was talking about. It started in Wicker Park about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. It started with about 500 individuals. It's a local business owner that owns the Silver Room. They really wanted to get the word and message out and get more individuals out into the community, engage with the community, let folks know that they're there. This block party has grown so much. They had the block party the first year and then they moved it to Hyde Park last year or 2 years ago. And I would say about maybe 5,000 people came out. This year, the block party has grown so big. There are about 50,000 people out with a number of different vendors, all of the restaurants that were open, as well as a lot of the small business owners, and this is along 53rd Street in Hyde Park. There's also the Black Bar Crawl. This is for the Juneteenth celebration, so really understanding when African Americans became free and starting to celebrate that. That's one opportunity. In Milwaukee, they have a Juneteenth parade and the King Drive bid. So really understanding what are the image building activities that you can bring out, where for folks, there are not generally any At the Silver Room Block Party, there was not one incident that happened there. There was never an incident. We also have another large festival that I'm so sorry I missed. It's called the Chicago House Music Festival. I am a big house music fan, so whenever I can go to any house music performances, I'm there. And so the House Music Festival, again, is one of those festivals that started very small. It started right behind the Museum of Science and Industry some 25 years ago. We were all going, it was free. Now this party has grown so big, over 100,000 people are coming to this, and they come from all over the country to go to the House Music Festival. They're featuring local artists, but they also feature a lot of well-known house music DJs. And you know, at one point it used to be free, now it's $30 to $40 to get into the festival. So again, these are just these opportunities where you are really building an image, also highlighting the cultural flavor. House music started in Chicago. That's where it started. He moved to London, and so, or to Europe, and so it's really highlighting something that was originally built and started in Chicago. And with that, I'll turn it over to Anwar, who you probably all came out to see, and not me.
I guess most people are familiar with H Street and revitalization of H Street. Basically, we started in 2002, and H Street was once a place that, you know, it was once a very successful business district, and then when the riots took place in 1968, and then the establishments of the suburban mall, the H Street went straight to pot, and I mean literally, we got to a point where there was a lot of disinvestment along the H Street corridor. The banks redlined H Street, people took flight to the suburbs, and it left basically people who basically once was a security guard or salespeople basically run their businesses along the H Street corridor. And that was probably one of the most successful things out of all of this once H Street burned. It did leave people who once didn't own businesses a chance to really get a shot at owning a business and you really take care of their families and do something different. We suffered for many years, and we went to the banks. We really tried to promote H Street. We went to the media. Every time we tried to really push H Street forward, we went to the media and asked them to stop negatively portraying H Street. And so we had to do our job of trying to find something to really bring H Street back together. And what we did, we actually looked at the Main Street program. We looked at the Main Street program back in 2002, and we were chosen as one of those first 5 Main Street programs. And we was really excited to look at what they were doing. We were looking at the LIST program, we were looking at Main Street. And then what we did, we understood their, at the time, 4-pronged approach. And we looked at what they had to offer. And we knew they had promotion, design, economic vitality, and organization. But at the same time, we knew we had ANCs, we had other organizations, and we had so much going on. How do we really make this fit what we needed? And we started attending a lot of these sessions, and we found out attending these sessions that all of them have to work synergistically in order for them to really work. Their promotion is related to design is related to organization is related to economic vitality, and guess what? No matter what you do in the green, blue, and the yellow, their promotion has to understand what these guys are doing to push everything forward. Dion talked so much about promotion. I'm not going over there, so we can keep going about special events and all. I'm going to get to the heart of advertising, and I think one of the first things that we did as a Main Street organization in the city, we came together and we advertised on the bus. That was the first, I guess, major thing that we did as all the Main Street programs got together, and we said, what are our assets? What do we have? How can we bring people to our quarter? And the first thing we did was to advertise each neighborhood, each Main Street had a advertisement on the side of the bus, and I think it worked for us pretty well. And Red Rock, it definitely did well because they were able to open up the 3rd floor, and they're doing very well today. One thing about image building along the H Street, about the neighborhoods on H Street, just like I said before, that we really started from the bottom. We really didn't have anything. So at the end of the day, we didn't have nothing to lose. So we had to come up with logos and imaging to actually rebrand H Street. And people really wanted to look at H Street. Should we give it another name? Should we take H Street and name it north of Capitol Hill? or what have you. We said, no, this is 8th Street Northeast, that we have to take 8th Street and show people that 8th Street can go down to the Potts again, but we can bring it up to really be respected again. So we looked at some imaging, and we started promoting 8th Street Northeast. And I guess you see on the side of the bus here, we had a bus that when the streetscape was torn, the past years, a few years ago, when they were re-imaging the streets, that we actually had a transportation unit downtown to bring people to 8th Street. When the streets were torn up, we actually attracted 24 to 25 to 27 new businesses a year when the streets were torn up, because we really promoted what we had. We had unique businesses that were coming in. Why did we have that? One, because the rents were cheap at the time. We can open up bars, we can take chances, but at the same time, we had to promote what we had because people didn't know what was going on. We found out that we began to build unique businesses, and people began to clam over each other to get to these businesses. At the same time, when we didn't have parking, that because of these unique businesses, and we began to promote these businesses, people didn't think about not getting a parking space. They thought about this unique experience that we had with the new bars, some of the new restaurants, and some of the new retail. We also began to promote the 8th Street Festival. The 8th Street Festival started off as a block party. We had basically about 500 people who attended the so-called block party, or the 8th Street Festival, when we first started. This is almost 13 years ago now. And we have grown the 8th Street Festival to up to 125,000, 150,000 people a year. And we now generate basically $6.1 million a year. We also did the streetscape re-imaging. In the streetscape re-imaging, we looked at the old material signs, the signage, the banners, and we noticed that they were turning up in a couple of years. The weather was beating them real bad. So we had to find out what could we do to have something that would last a long time that we didn't have to spend a lot of money on. We ended up spending $50 per banner in a metal banner and had it painted, and we ended up putting these banners up along 8th Street corridor. We put about almost 125 of those banners up along the 8th Street corridor. And that really had a great impact. And if you notice, we were the leaders in this. Now Chinatown is doing the same thing with the same banner using the Chinatown image. What did we do when we first started? We knew that we had to promote or piggyback off of what the Economic Vitality and Organization Committee was doing along the 8th Street corridor. What were we going to do to re-image 8th Street? We decided to meet. We had over 500 people to meet along the 8th Street corridor in a revitalization process or a planning process. We ended up breaking 8th Street down to about 3 different segments. One was urban living, the central retail district, and the arts and entertainment district. And then once we did that, it was up to the promotion committee to sell this. How do we sell this to the community? How do we sell this to investors and the developers? And we did just that. We actually met with developers. We started meeting with business owners. And again, we began to attract what the city thought would take 15 to 20 years to revitalize 8th Street. We began to attract businesses, 24 to 27 new businesses a year. And in 5 years, we began to get national press. The 10th year, we won the Great American Main Street Award. Not only that, from learning how to plan a quarter, the promotion committee took on their back to really piggyback off what Design and Economic Vitality Committee were doing. We had to promote, do some re-imaging of Heck and Jamal. 8th Street was coming along pretty well. We basically had to manage 8th Street now, but how did we basically go out and touch the sides of the sisters and brother streets of 8th Street, which is the Blakenberry Road and Benning Road? And many people knew that Heck and Jamal was sitting dormant to a certain degree and under-revitalized or under-imaged. So we took what we learned from the city, and we began to talk to the community, and we end up re-imaging the Heck and Jamal with this site you see down here at the bottom. This is our committee up front. This is what we did as far as the promotion committee, getting people to come out, and these are some of our partners in the top flyer here. We also begin to promote, as we begin to build, some of the images of the new housing residents and some of the commercial business. Many of the newspapers begin to highlight the resurgence of 8th Street, the potentials of what 8th Street can become, or what 8th Street was doing. One of the newspapers said 8th Street is one of the most hippest quarter in the city, and that 8th Street is also one of the, have the potential of being the #1 community quarter coming back into its balance. And so we begin to advertise this with flyers and putting it out. And at the same time we begin to do this, we begin to notice that, and we begin to do this, we begin to put this same flyer out at our festivals and out all night, that we begin to attract more residents to the H Street Quarter. We, during the H Street Festival and during the out all night, we begin to get strong lease-ups. We begin to get a strong lease-up, which normally would take a year or two for a business to fill their units. They begin to get 75% and 8% in their units, 75 to 90% in their units the first year and a half, because of what we are doing. Again, we begin to engage all players. The promotions committee job is to reach out to the community, to make sure that they are engaged, to make sure they have the information that the Economic Vitality Committee have, the Organization Committee have, and the Design Committee have, and be able to get that out to the community. We had to share ideas. We had to talk about basically what H3 has in stores for the future. We had to get people to believe in the image and power of where we were going. This is another piece here where we begin to invite our media partners. This is one shot with Molette Green. Molette Green, where she worked for NBC4. We begin to celebrate the H3 historic neighborhood with her. We invited businesses. Again, some of the promotion opportunities we had here, where we had the police side-by-side band, which we engaged the police with the youth and the residents. We had music or entertainers who basically live in the neighborhood that come out and entertain. We partnered with CW50, with Two Broke Girls at the H3 Festival, and we also partnered with some of our businesses, and we received awards from really partnering with them from the mayor. This right here is our community, some of our community volunteers. This was a quick snapshot. I think we had about 75 volunteers at the H3 Festival, and this is a quick snapshot of some of the volunteers here, and show how we promote H Street with our T-shirts and all. Again, that's what the promotion committee is supposed to be doing. You know, whatever design, whatever the Economic Vitality Committee is doing, we're supposed to piggyback off of what they're doing with imaging to really highlight the community. Dion talked about some of this. These are special events that we had. We had an art walk, which involved a lot of kids and some of the residents. We were actually waiting on a streetcar, and they were taking too long. It was so political. It took so long to get the streetcar online. We actually got a strolling road from downtown, and we put the H Street streetcar on the back of the strolling road, and we actually ran the streetcar route the whole day along the H Street Quarter to promote what was going to happen. This is the H Street Festival again. The H Street Festival attract over 1,000 people. This is to celebrate our local art, the history, talent, and celebrate the history and architecture of our community. One thing that we realized that we have a lot of entertainment, or a lot of professionals in our community, or talent in our communities. We have to find a way, how do you engage them in the H Street Quarter? How do you engage them in your community? And what we found that we can do, that we can enliven every intersection during our festival. Enliven every intersection with stages, invite the entertainers, the local entertainers to our community to perform. And we've had entertainers like Taddy Bonet, who live in the neighborhood, who really got a chance to really play at the H Street Festival, and he really got his name out there along with other artists. Wale don't live in the neighborhood. He's from Washington, D.C., but his drummer and his guitar player live in the neighborhood. And so we were able to get Wale at one of the events along the H Street Quarter. This is the AutoZone parking lot. We had about, I think it was about 10,000 people out that day. We had to actually close down the street to show you how you have neighborhood artists that you really can invite to your neighborhood to highlight your neighborhood. It's all about attracting people. You know, what can we do? You may not get so much money that day from your businesses. You get some, but you're looking at that long-term attraction, pulling people to H Street, and people get a chance to really experience basically what H Street is all about. H Street is going through a whole resurgence. People had walked away from H Street. People had given up on H Street. And many people who sit in this room, if you had kids and they frequent H Street, you ask them what were they doing on H Street. But now H Street is basically going through a resurgence. And so now you come down to see what's going on with our quarter and how it's changed. So now you come back more frequently. Again, this is the Starburst Park. The Starburst Park basically is known as K2 Park in Washington, D.C. you again didn't walk through this park. The district government revitalized this park and they walked away from it. And again, it went to the dogs. The fountain was not working. We had weeds growing out of the sidewalk. You had people who basically were laid out all day long, sleeping in the park. And we looked at it one day and said, we have to find a way to re-image this park. We have to take it back. This is our community. This is our business. What do you do to really make this work? So we went to the city and we asked them, give us a permit and let us take this park. And we did. Give us a little bit of money and we'll change the image of this park. And we did. And then we have farmers market. We have retail pop-up. We have a concert series every Saturday night. And we have actually changed the image of this park with design and all the rest. And then once the design committee went in and they decided to put up new fencing and change the image and clean it up, it was our job to go out and promote what was going on here. So you go to this park now, which you basically ran from a few years ago, you actually go and sit down in it now and enjoy it. And we're still improving on the park. This is Out All Night. Out All Night, again, is a very good point for H Street. I guess you notice this is a streetcar. We actually have local artists on the streetcar playing jazz and other music, rap. And this is one of the highest ridership days of the streetcar. People had talked years ago about, why do we have a streetcar on H Street? We're not getting ridership. It's a streetcar to nowhere, not understanding it's the first phase. But it's our job, basically, to find a way to highlight this. Now, after this first year doing this, we end up with over 2 million riders that first year. So this right here helped bring, again, more people to H Street, more people to the streetcar, more people understanding what we are trying to do. And we understand one thing about the streetcar, which we actually reached out to the city, is that years ago, Carl Vanderbilt owned the shipyards. And he showed the shipyards to go into the train business. And it's a train business that really revolutionized the country. And we looked at the streetcar with the high gas prices, the cost of cars, the cost of repairing of cars, that the streetcar can move more people around than a vehicle. And it's a lot cleaner ride, and it's safe, it's cleaner for your health and all. And if you do a responsible system from Southeast DC to Chevy Chase, DC, where it normally takes about 2 hours in the morning, if you put together a responsible system, it can do it a lot cheaper. So this is the first phase of the streetcar, so people should have faith and a little promise of what the streetcar can really do. Again, special events, we talk more about special events. It's more about H Street and awards that we receive. Again, we involved our summer youth. We involved our summer youth in the program, which I talked about earlier, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. We did a lot of cooperative promotion and cross-promotion with businesses, where you have businesses who have like-minded things in mind. You can advertise in the local newspaper, list them all in one place, and put postcards out and advertise in the page in the newspaper. Also, if you look at one of our businesses here, which is, or two of our businesses, which is Catwalk and Daily Rider, they once were vendors at the H Street Festival. And we worked with them, and they end up opening up a brick and mortar. Daily Rider is now in their second location, and Catwalk is in a re-image location. We moved them from one spot to another spot so they can do better, and they're doing very well. Both of these businesses are doing very well. So you have to promote during the holidays, and Dion talked about niche marketing and many more, so I don't have to go over this. And again, looking at the four-point approach, again, I stole this from Dion about this community transformation, and the flyer she had, I think, is very good. And if you see something in other Main Street programs have, we should rip off and duplicate. You see anything that I have, take it and use it for your benefit. And it's all about using this four-point approach to really create and promote and encourage community transformation. That's what it's all about. We have the tools. Main Street has been very good for us, and I think it's the best thing going in the country right now. And all we have to do is do our homework. I remember years ago, I think Lauren asked me when I was in one of the 101 basic programs, and she said, Anwar, you're in your fourth year of going through a Main Street program, and you've been through this already. I said, Lauren, I go through the basic training again because I know it's something I missed. I know it's something I missed, and I want to go back and reestablish what I missed to help make my community grow better. And that's what I do. So if you see me going back with the newcomers, I'm going back because I know it's something I missed, and I'm going to learn. We all have great ideas. We all have great ideas, but we have to engage all players to help lead to community transformation. Thank you so much. Yes.
You say you make $6 million a year?
$6.1 million that we attract at the 8th Street Festival. With 100, the average person was spending $61 per person, and that's huge. We have businesses who actually make about, let's say they make $10,000–$15,000 one day. They make $50,000 in that one day. If you look at what we're doing with the businesses, we actually bring our businesses to the sidewalk. You know, we create sidewalk bars and all the rest, and we give them actually 10 feet within the street. They take the whole sidewalk, 10 feet within the street, and you can actually sell your beer and all. We put fencing around it and sell your beer. So it's packed. You have the beer area, you have the retail area, and we don't have a problem with it. We're doing very well. So we set a trend of doing something different with DCRA. But DCRA is killing us with the permits, but the businesses are making pretty good money.
But that's not revenue to you,
That's revenue to the businesses, yeah.
Right?
No, we sacrifice for the businesses. You know, we sacrifice for the businesses, and in turn, as they make their money, we'll take the price up. They help pay the bill. You know, I think the festival may cost us about $100,000 from the city alone, but we make that money back through vending and our fees.
Can you relate some of your challenges in the beginning? I know you've got it all pretty well now. Can you relate a little bit about your challenges about how to get businesses into the area?
Well, the thing is, people didn't believe in the beginning. Some people didn't believe until we brought them together, and you found out that once you mix the north side of the quarter and the south side of the quarter, that's the haves and have-nots. We all wanted the same thing. We wanted a vibrant quarter. We wanted crime to go away. We wanted.
What did you do?
We worked with them. We worked with them and talked to them. First, we came up with orange hats. The first thing we did was dealt with the low-hanging fruit. We cleaned our quarter. Okay. Then we got a clean team to clean our quarter. It's all about the low-hanging fruit. Then we dealt with some facade improvement, and we dealt with some signages. It's the easy things. We dealt with planning. Those things that we dealt with first. And we got the youth involved. So all those things helped us quite a bit. But you remind you again, the 8th Street was a quarter that you didn't walk down 8th Street unless you knew someone. You ran down 8th Street and you kept going. Anyone else? All right, Dion?
No, that's it. Christina, do you want us just to keep moving?
No more questions? I got a question for Anwar. No, we're not done. So, sorry, but I think this is important for those of you who haven't yet dived into oh God, I forgot, I work for government. Okay, I won't call it what I was gonna call, okay, it is. It's hell getting permits to run a festival. Yes. It is, I was gonna say it's difficult. No, it's hell. Yeah. So why don't we take a little bit of time since we have it and have not only Anwar, but those of you who've gone through it, tell us, how do you build relationships with DCRA, DDOT? I mean, where's Bill? He may have stepped out. I mean, last year we had an issue with DDOT. We did Art All Night, and we had the fire dancers. They're amazing. And DDOT calls us and says, well, you know, those fire dancers, that stuff could just go flying, and you could catch a car on fire. And I said, no, they're trained. We're here with fire extinguishers. It's like, well, how do you know they're pointing the right way? So we had to get permits from DCRA, DDOT, I forget who else. Then they said, well, somebody in the audience could get burned, so you've got to have people standing away. Then they said, well, no, because they're getting closer and they're getting to the cars. I mean, I can go on and on. But bottom line is, events are great. And we love to do them because, in the end, the businesses benefit. But there are two things I think that, since we do have a little bit of time, we could talk about. One is, how do we navigate that? And navigating is relationships. But I think they can tell you. And the second one is, how do we make sure that businesses, that's the bottom line, the businesses on the corridor benefit? So, and I had stepped out, maybe Anwar hasn't shared this, but there was a moment when the 8th Street Festival was just a festival. The day it turned around, when people came and said, I came here to do a pop-up, and it was so good, I'm opening a brick and mortar business. I came here because I liked it, and you know what? Anwar and his team had just arranged for the apartments to do open houses, and I liked this so much, I signed the lease. Tell us how you do this, please.
Well, basically, it's about creating an image. You know, first you have to do is clean the street up. You clean the street up, you do what you can to reduce crime, and that's the main thing. You have to change the image. You have to make sure the numbers go down. You have to work with the police department. And you have to also work with the folks who are on the street. You know, people have a tendency of just looking at what the district can do. But, you know, we know who's selling drugs. We know who's committing the crime most of the time. But, you know, you have to have the heart to go have a conversation with them. As simple as that. And you have to say, look, this is what you're doing to the quarter. We're trying to, you know, re-image the quarter. We're trying to change our quarter around. And if we continue to tear our neighborhoods up, it'll never grow. And so some of the same people that we talk to were some of the same people that we end up sending to the Central Union Mission, and they end up cleaning the streets. Some of those same guys end up cleaning the streets. So we end up hiring some of those guys. We started off with a makeshift first before we went to Central Union Mission, and we actually put these guys on the streets so they could have money in their pocket. So we no longer had to stay on the corner to sell cigarettes. They never had to stay on the corner to peddle their goods, because now they was making some income, and they were building some community pride. And that's what it's all about. People want to feel like they belong. And then you have to worry about talking to them and find out what their skill sets are. And if they have skill sets, you have to see if there are businesses who would take chances on some of the same people who are on the corner. Because, you know, people really want to work. You know, people just don't want to sit out and do nothing. You know, sitting out doing nothing is a long, drawn-out day. It's a long, drawn-out day. But when you're actively involved in something, your day go a lot quicker. And so, you know, we've been pretty much successful with this, with businesses hiring our residents. And the clean team, we've had one guy who actually purchased a house. You know, now they're able to take care of their family. And with the city's help, we are actually able to pay them with a living wage. And they can take care of their families with their wife income or other income in the house. They can actually take care of their families. And they thought it was impossible. Their life was basically over. So you basically have to work with people that you have. You can't walk by people and say it's just a waste. As long as you're alive, and I believe this, as long as you're alive and you really want to do something, there's hope. And the same thing with the Starburst, where people, there's some young ladies, I mean, because young ladies seem to transform a lot quicker than guys sometimes. And they were on K2, and you talk to them and say, why are you doing this? You listen to their story. And the whole thing is, get them some behavioral help. Get them some help. You know, get them some training. And you'll realize, I mean, I had a young lady whose mouth was, I mean, looked like a serious zombie, everything black in their mouth. And you open their mouth, you're like, what in the world is going on? It's because of the drug. It's because of the chemical. And you're able to get them some help. And then we have events at the Starburst now. They'll walk up to me and they'll say thank you. They'll say thank you because their life has changed. Their life is going in another direction. We have more respect at the Starburst now than I think any city official or anyone else, because we begin to change lives over there. The problem is, will the city keep funding us? They didn't do it this year. We'll change things that look beautiful over there, but the city have to keep funding us off of these successes. The property is not owned by DDOT. I mean, not owned by us. It's owned by the city. DDOT own it, but they're not putting a dime up to really go through its transformation. And it's sad the city need to step up to do what they're supposed to do. And the Starburst is not the only park like that in the city. There are many underperforming parks in the city that the city need to look at and try to re-image. And what was the other question, Christina? Yes. Yeah. Oh, permits. Now, DCRA was a tough nut to crack. You know, they have been going through so many changes over the years. And a few years ago, we thought that the city talked about providing a white glove service on Main Streets, and that's what we tried to do. And at that time, I began to build a relationship, I think when Nick McJett was there, and getting to know all the department heads, from fire department to zoning to DDOT, and dealing with pop-up permits and things like that, because we started to do a lot of pop-up permits. So I got to know a lot of the players there, and they believed in what we were doing. And when I need anything down there, I can get what I need real quick. But the whole thing is you have to build that relationship. And I believe that if the city was smart, with a number of growing main streets around the city, that the city should now provide a white glove service to Main Street programs that gets things through. They should have meetings with us and talk to us what is needed and how they can easily get us through the process. Because we are creating value for the city that they couldn't do. And I've always said, what's the purpose of a nonprofit? The purpose of a nonprofit is to lessen the burden of government. And that's what these Main Street programs are doing. We are lessening the burden of government. What government think they should have been doing, they shouldn't be doing. Nonprofits like Main Street should be doing. And they should be worried about running the city. They should not be in real estate. They should not be doing a whole lot of other things. They should be trying to run the city the way it should be ran. And programs like Main Street should be really running the city and transforming neighborhoods. And they should be in support of us. Great.
I wondered if you could talk about your experience dealing with some of the chains and some of the bigger retailers on each street.
The chains are tough. No, we didn't focus on chains at all in the beginning. No, we felt if chains were going to get involved, they had to be involved more with the larger infill properties. That we focused on small businesses. And we, like I said, we attracted over 24 to 27 new small businesses during the economic tough times. And today we have over 300 new businesses and created over 3,600 new jobs. But it's the other chains like the Giant who came in later to fill those larger spaces, and the Whole Food who came in to fill those larger spaces. But the problem that we have, that collectively more small businesses contribute to what we're doing than the larger corporations. You know, I mean, I was just shocked and floored last year when Whole Food came, and I tell the story, and we asked them for a contribution for the H3 Festival, and these guys offered us $500. And, you know, and I told them to keep it. You know, I told them to keep it, and I said, you know, you have to learn to respect the room that bore you. If it wasn't for us doing the work we're doing, you wouldn't be down here. It's simple as that. Because we made that path for you to come to the quarter. And so when you have larger corporations who want to give you a little bit, don't take the money. Have some pride. Don't take the money and tell everybody about it. They offered me $500. And then the attorney turned around and tried to go behind our back to go to Abra to get a permit to sell alcohol. And you know what we did? We shut them down, see you next year. And people say, you know, y'all have a lot of, yeah, we have a whole lot of heart. And you have to have a whole lot of heart dealing with community revitalization. You have to be able to stand up for something. And like my father always tell me, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We're going to stand up, and we're going to change our neighborhood. We couldn't be in the position that we're in now if we felt for anything along the H3 corridor. And we're intentional about what we do. We are very intentional. We tell you, no, we're intentional about it. We don't care what corporations. We support small businesses first. We support local businesses first. During the snow, many of the H3 businesses stay open during the snow. Why do they stay open during the snow? Because most small business owners live in the neighborhood. And that's what it's all about. It's a neighborhood, residential business serving the neighborhood. And that's what it's all about. We have to begin to employ and hire each other. And those same neighbors hire people from the neighborhood. So H Street is unique. H Street is different. And H Street is building into a destination where we have to stay hot. Any other questions? Yes.
You showed the Hechinger Mall sort of revisioning.
Yes.
So how'd you do that? What were the steps, and then what's happening?
What we did, we looked at Hechinger Mall, and Hechinger Mall is a mall that basically should be torn down. Its life is over. I mean, I don't care how much you try to Band-Aid it, its life is really over. And you have to find a way to get it to fit in more into the community fabric. And if you read Image Hechinger Mall, that it literally will affect 5 neighborhoods. I don't care what you say, 3-4 block down neighborhood, you give it another name and all the rest, but 5 neighborhoods, it affects 5 neighborhoods. And what we did, we actually listened to the community, and we listened to what they wanted, and we began to go in and redesign. We got an architect locally that was unknown, got an architect, and we had basically her to redo an image of Hechinger Mall. And we learned from the city. We didn't go to the city. We went to the city. The city said that we were too far ahead of them, that we should wait on them. They was focusing on Union Market. And I'm like, why should we wait on you guys? You guys focus on Union Market. We need to focus on ourselves then. I went to Victor Hoskins years ago, and we told him we wanted to do something, and he told us, let market forces take its course, that he wasn't going to spend no money on it. So, you can't tell me no but one time, and I figure out a way to get it done. Once I learned how to deal with the process, you go out here and find other talent in the community that will help assist you. And what we did, we had a hard time getting the Argonoski Group. The Argonoski Group purchased it from Price Ellum. Price Ellum purchased it from the Hechinger family. And what we did, we literally start re-imaging ourselves once the Ogonoski group didn't want to move. And we did the re-imaging listening to the community. And we gave them 5 different options on how the Hecklinger Mall could be redesigned. Biz now got hold to the story, and they interviewed us, and now people around the city say now the Hecklinger Mall is the #1 mall that should be revitalized because we have taken the community initiative to do something about it. And one thing about that, the school, which was below Pierce, they were concerned that they would get pushed out once we did this. And they didn't know that we had looked at them first. We were concerned about the school first before we was concerned about Hecklinger Mall. So actually we looked at doing a new school, because they own their property, doing a new school, mixed-use development with office space, and involving some of the only other small business property owners. And when we met with them, they were shocked that we had a plan for them also. We had already drawn up an image for them. And we presented it from their board, and their board immediately bought in. So now we have some imaging ready for not only the school to involve workforce housing with teachers and all, but also Hecklinger Mall. And finally, the city met with us, and they made some phone calls to the Ogonoski group and said, y'all need to sit down and listen to these guys, because these guys are serious.
So, as part of that reimagining, you said you're focused on local businesses. Do you
Yep.
assume that you're gonna have some big sort of
Oh, you're gonna have to have some, yeah, we look at the arts components, other large businesses, yes, you have to have that.
Is there thought about how to maintain sort of affordable retail for local businesses in a development?
We looked at both, and one thing we've done, I'm glad you mentioned affordable retail. We noticed one thing about A Street, once you're successful, the rents go up, because you have property owners who've been hurting for a long time, and they're trying to find a way to get above water and stay above water for a long. They want to enjoy that swim for a while, and instead of the drowning. And what we work with businesses to help them increase their bottom line. You know, you need more sales. You know, in order for you to survive, you need more sales. We have to bring more people to you. And if you get more sales, guess what? Your numbers go up. You can afford those rents when they go up. And the other thing we encourage is to purchase buildings. You know, purchase the building yourself. You know, we basically, with the experience we had with our planning processes, we drew over 500 people through our planning process. Many other communities around the city wanted to go through that same process. We took that same process and we formed a Great Streets board, and we started the whole Great Streets basically program. I was an advisory committee and all to deal with that whole imaging. And what we did, we also took funds where we started TIF in 2007. We started TIF in 2007, and we talked to the chief financial officer and how does it work, and he told us basically how it worked. And we were able to generate $25 million in TIF funding. And TIF funding, we wanted to invest those monies back into A Street, and we began to invest $85,000 to businesses to help them improve their businesses. So now you have new facades, you have new interior, you have new equipment that were outdated, and we began to invest that in businesses along the A Street corridor. So that really helped us a whole lot. But the city looked at that and said, that's too much money from you guys. And they took our TIF back, and they started spraying the TIF around the rest of the city with the Great Streets program that we helped imagine. And those monies all over the city was supposed to be spent for A Street. So we have to, again, look at our local official. I believe that when you work hard and you create value in your neighborhood, the promise that you made, that you should live up to those promises and let us reinvest those monies back in our neighborhood, and the city failed on that promise. Yes.
I want to know, be a small business, how I can join, your company and make a difference in Ward 6 and other area in DC, because we want to have the people coming from, different place, maybe jail, and sometimes they don't get opportunity. And we want to train them and help them to go their own.
Okay.
How we can partnership with you guys.
Okay, be a little clear. Maybe I'm not hearing all of it.
Like our business, we are general contractor,
Right.
and we are small business.
Okay.
And we work with the rock, all those big companies. Where we want to give back the city. Now, giving back the city is we hire the people who coming from jail and not getting a chance
Right.
to get trained. Now, we want also to develop the area you know, I mean, anything you see around Ward 6 is damaged. We want to cover our hat, you know.
See, that,
What do you need to do to work with
see, you can work with us and we advocate for you. That's one thing about us. We're going to advocate for local small businesses first. But we don't control anything like building sidewalks and all the rest. That's the city. The city and the legislative branch control that. You know, the legislative branch okay the funding. It's the executive branch that really point the people who are going to actually do the work. But what we can do is when it comes to Great Streets money, and we actually working with businesses, and we know you have the skill, and you have returning citizens, and they really have the skill, and they really want to work, that we'll match you with those small businesses so you can do those storefront improvements and the interior and all the rest. We can work with you on that level. But the other level you're talking about is on the city. The city have to do that, and we, yeah. I understand that.
we do the whole project. And what we want us is just to give back to the city, to just help them to develop a, you know, livelihood area with low cost.
Right, I understand.
But you have also people need to work because there's a lot of young folks, you know, out there.
I understand.
You know, I mean, they're raised by single mothers and they don't know how to go to a farm. Sometimes they need people like us who have business, who can guide them and so they can have tools to go to a farm, you know.
I agree. Like I said, we can help you. We can help you on the things that we have more access to. We can help you on that level, but on the other level, it's the city.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes.
You are super famous in Main Street's world.
Thank you.
Like, we were talking a little bit today about how organizations are centered on, you know, like someone who's been really influential like yourself. I was wondering if you could talk a little about like the role of your board members over the years, especially as you've changed and especially as your events have gotten larger. How do you, like, do you leverage contractors? Have you added a lot of full-time staff? I'm from North Capitol Main Street,
Okay.
and we're just sort of wondering about how we grow. We're really stabilized over the last couple of years, but we're really thinking about what we need to do to get to like the next level of our own organization.
For the first, 7, 8 years, it was one staff. It was me. I started off with black hair. I was averaging 4 or 5 hours sleep a night, and you know, but I never wanted to become executive director. You know, when I started, I had other executive directors, and they basically burn out. You know, burnout is quick with executive directors, and it's a lot of work. And to work with your boards, you know, you have to have boards that are compassionate and all the rest, and understand what's going on. If the board members don't understand, they try to pull you in another direction. No, it's really going to hurt the organization. You really have to understand the concept. Once you understand the concept, it becomes a lot easier because you all start feeding on each other, and the burden is not on one person. Okay, you turn over those board members who really, you know, have their personal agenda in place, and you find new board members who really have the community at heart. And you have to be compassionate about this. You know, you have to attend the meetings. You have to get involved. I believe in bringing on contractors to get some things done, because I want you to get the work done. I want you to leave and do something else. I want to move on to something else. I'm being straight up with you. I like board members who are going to listen to you, and you piggyback off each other, and they're going to let you do what you have to do. You know, if you have a board members riding your back, it becomes very burdensome, and the next thing you know, you want to find a way to leave. We have a small board. We don't have a large board. We have a board with about 8 board members, 8 or 9 board members, and I think if we had a 15-member board, I think my head probably be white. So you have to have people who are compassionate about the neighborhoods and really want to create change. So did I answer your question?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And your board member have to believe in the executive director. I mean, there have been things that I wanted to do, and my board member said no. And I asked them, well, give me a chance, I'm gonna show you how we can do this. And once you prove to your board members and you gain their confidence, no problem. My board members don't bother me for anything now.
are they like mostly a working board, or as far as working board?
I started off as a working board, and I'm at a point I just want every neighborhood work different. I want people to get out my way. I'll be honest with you, and let me do the job. I can find a talent in the neighborhood to get it done, but I want you to oversee everything, because I may be missing something I want you to take a look at. But I want you hired me to do a job. Let me do my job, and I can do it well. And if you want to get my way, I'm gonna give you the ring. I'm gonna say, why don't you do it for a while, see how it is, you know? And I think you'll give it back. because sometimes I don't want it.